So I love neighborhoods with water views, especially lake views. And it's very hard to find those types of views in neighborhoods in Virginia Beach. They exist, but it's not very common. And whatever houses are on the lakes are the ones that you're stuck with. If you want a unique type of house or design, you can only pick based on whatever houses are on lakes already. So today we're going to be talking about a neighborhood that has awesome modern style houses on lakes in a very in-demand section of Virginia Beach. The neighborhood's called Sherwood Lakes, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Santalone, and I'm a real estate agent in the Hampton Roads area that goes from Virginia Beach and through Williamsburg, and I do videos every week about living and moving to the area. So today we're going to be talking about Sherwood Lakes, which is a extremely in-demand neighborhood in Virginia Beach. I think it's a great one to go after for several reasons. I'll show you where it is, show you what's around there, show you the types of houses that are in here and why they're so cool and the views that are so cool. But I also want to talk to you about some drawbacks and some things that, still keep in mind if you plan to move to the neighborhood. I think they're worth considering. So first of all, where is Sherwood Lakes? Looking on the map here, going down in the southeastern section of Virginia Beach, south of the Oceana Naval Air Station. See these big two blobs, the blue blobs right there? Those are the two lakes in Sherwood Lakes right here. So you're zooming in, it's the southeastern corner, close to a couple of major shopping areas we'll talk about. But this section here, you have the big loop around Loxley Arch, and then all these other streets on the side here along the smaller side of the lakes. Over here as well, there are houses along both of the lakes. So zooming out, where is it in relation to the rest of the area? Well, you're about 15 to 20 minutes away from the oceanfront itself, the touristy beach, if you will. But another benefit to being in Sherwood Lakes in the southeastern corner of Virginia Beach is the access to Sandbridge, which is a much quieter kind of a destination beach, which is about 12-ish minutes away from the entrance to Sandbridge is Sherwood Lakes. That's a really awesome value to being in this section of Virginia Beach. But you're also about 30 minutes away from Norfolk, downtown Norfolk, and you're also about 40 minutes away from Norfolk Navy Base NOB on the northwestern section of Norfolk, and also about 30-ish minutes away from the Little Creek Base on the north side of Virginia Beach, maybe about even 35. But you're close to the Oceana Naval Air Station. You're only about 12 minutes away from there. So while you're far from the other sides of the Hampton Roads area, you have pretty convenient access to the rest of southeastern Virginia Beach. But that leads us over to the real estate. What type of houses are in Sherwood Lakes, and how much are they, and what do you get? Well, these houses are built in the late 2000s and early 2010s, like 09, 10, 11, 12. And that's a time period where you find a lot more modern or open style floor plans. So you have the nice modern kind of style in the front, where you call the elevation, but also as you walk in, it's way more open. The open style, larger ceilings. The rooms aren't as compartmentalized, so you don't feel like you're kind of boxed in any specific spot. So it does feel like you can breathe in these houses if you want that modern style. But then also these houses mostly are going to be anywhere from 2,100 square feet to like 35 to 3,600 square feet. 4, 5, 6 bedrooms. They can be pretty big. And if you get views on the lake, oh my goodness, these are going to be like perfect views. So as you walk out of your front porch, onto your porch, or even looking through your windows in your house, you'll just see big lake views from your house, and especially if you've got ones on the lake. So and there are even some that are on corners that you can have even almost like a quasi panoramic view, where you've got balconies on the front. You can see different sides of the water from different sides of your house. So it's really, really nice, and they definitely position the houses to accentuate the views, and that's one of the reasons why I like these houses. Another thing you see here is that you see a lot of porches on the front porch designed to ensure that you have the most accessible views as possible, because why would you put a house on a lake without being able to see it a lot, right? But one thing to mention too, though, is that you have the houses around the big lake, Loxley Arch. Those are all focused on the lake. But if you come down further south, as you come off of Loxley Arch, you have other houses that are off the lake, and some that are on the smaller lake. But these are actually condos, as opposed to the Loxley Arch side, which is in an HOA. The difference is primarily that the condos off of Loxley Arch are on streets that are maintained by the association, not on Loxley Arch, which is the street is maintained by the city. So there's a difference there. So you'll see different costs as well. So the HOA itself right now is around $75 a month, but the condos could be starting in the $95 a month range, in addition to the HOA fee. And then as you go down south in this further south part of of Sherwood Lakes, you don't just have single family houses. You're now going into the attached townhouse style condos. These are going to be anywhere from like the 1,600 square foot range to the 2,200 square foot range, but these are cheaper. These are $450,000 to $500,000 generally speaking in that range. You'll find some maybe a little bit cheaper than that, but they're still very nice floor plans, very nice designs for the time period. And another thing about them I like too is that you have multiple strips of townhouses, but as you walk out of your houses, they face big green space. So you're not necessarily like all up against a main road. You kind of feel like you're a little bit private in these townhouse condos. That's also not very common to see in Virginia Beach. So I think that's a very unique thing. And it's tucked in the corner, which is kind of like the overarching theme here is that this whole neighborhood is kind of like a cul-de-sac. You don't really have any reason to come in here unless you live in the neighborhood. So even if you're on a main road like Loxley Arch, where you're the primary road coming through the neighborhood, while it's the busiest technically, it's still not going to be super busy, especially as you go further back into the neighborhood because there's no place to cut through to other parts of Virginia Beach. However, speaking of cutting through, there are some trails that are in Sherwood Lakes, and that also is part of what you're paying for with your HOA. There are a couple to go around the lake. Number one, the lake access with walking is great, but also there is one specifically I want to mention that connects between Loxley Arch and the neighborhood north of it, which is Highgate Greens. So if you look here, you'll see that there's this traffic circle. There is a connection point right here that connects into the neighborhood behind there. So if you have people that live, friends of yours that live in Highgate Greens, you can walk from there to Sherwood Lakes really easily. I think that's pretty cool, but the trails are the only real cut-throughs to Sherwood Lakes from the other side of Virginia Beach. You have a couple others, though, that lead around the back of Sherwood Lakes that connect over to Seaboard Road, that side also. So if you zoom out there, you'll see that there are multiple ways to get out walkwise to the other parts of Virginia Beach, but you can't drive into Sherwood Lakes from that side. It's only foot traffic. So other things you get when you pay your HOA is also, of course, you're getting your maintenance in the common areas. There's a playground. There's a bike rack now up near the lake too. You can get trash pickup, and also, but with the condo association, of course you're paying for ground maintenance, but you're also paying for the maintenance of that road, and you're getting things like the trash pickup, sewer. But then you're paying for the exterior insurance. If you're in the attached condos on the south part of the neighborhood, you're paying for insurance as well. So you're getting a different variety of things you're paying for and getting based on where you are in the neighborhood. So definitely when you're buying a house in Sherwood Lakes, get your HOA docs or condo docs, review them to make sure that you know what you're paying for and also know and comfortable with what the standards are for the neighborhood. So the walking dynamic is interesting here, and that's one of the things I want to mention next is the fact that you have, at this point, is one really awesome local chain restaurant, which is Shorebreak, which is right in the front of the neighborhood. So if you live in Sherwood Lakes, you can walk from your house to Shorebreak if you want to, and without having to go onto the main road. And I've not been to Shorebreak yet, but I've heard from friends of mine that their pizza is outstanding. But in addition to that, go across the street, across Loxley Arch, you see that this big green section here. Well, they're now building a Taste sandwich shop, which is another big local chain of sandwich places that I'd say of any place that is local chain-wise, this is one of the most popular. And so to put a Taste here makes a lot of sense to me. But again, you can walk from your house to the restaurant if you want to and can without having to leave the neighborhood. And next to that, they're doing some other proposals for future construction for restaurants and shops next to that. So you'll have a kind of like an insulated access to some really nice shopping and restaurants here potentially and not having to leave your neighborhood. So this is extremely uncommon. I think of all the things that people ask me about with walkability and access to, shops from your house, it's hard to find this type of dynamic anywhere away from places like Ghent and Norfolk. So another thing I like about being in Sherwood Lakes is the fact that while you are accessible to some suburban living, like shops and houses, all the stuff nearby, you also feel like you're in the country. So if you look at the map again, you're staring at a lot of farmland or nearby. So you're like 3 minutes away from kind of the central part of Pungo, and then going further down, you're close to country, I guess is what I'm saying here. So that's another side benefit to being on the southeastern section of Virginia Beach, period. But in Sherwood Lakes itself, you're kind of right on the edge of the suburban part of Virginia Beach. that's right kind of on the gate of going into Pungo. So I think that's kind of a nice value of being in that balance of both sides. Another thing I like about being in Sherwood Lakes is that even though you're close-ish to Oceana Naval Air Station, you're not in a super high jet noise zone area. You are right on the edge, on the southern edge of the area that you might hear more jets. But again, I don't think it's one of those where you're going to be really kind of concerned about super loudness in the neighborhood. But if you see, looking on the ACU's jet noise zone map, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you see here, there's Oceana. Going down, you see, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. See where Highgate Greens is? So that's the neighborhood that's right north of. You can connect and walk to there from Sherwood Lakes. Sherwood Lakes is right here. It's outside of the higher jet noise zone areas in Virginia Beach. Even though it looks like you're super close, you're not really into the flight paths as much as the rest of the southeastern part of Virginia Beach. So I think that's another added value, because it's hard to find neighborhoods that are outside of those higher jet noise zone ranges that are closer to Oceana. You were close to shopping. So if you look on the map again, you'll see that there are some of the most in-demand shopping areas in all of Virginia Beach are close by here. Number one is going to be Red Mill Commons, which is, if you look at Greenbrier, looking at Greenbrier, the Chesapeake, kind of that big shopping area, this is like a small version of Greenbrier, but it's newer and nice. Great shopping in here. Target, Walmart. You got lots of big box stores. You got great restaurants. Blue Seafood, I've mentioned before, is one of my favorite restaurants in all of Hampton Roads. You got other restaurants, Walgreens is over here. You got Buffalo Wild Wings. You got Senor Fox, a great Mexican restaurant. Other kind of chain restaurants too, which I'm not always a fan of. It depends, but you get a mixture. You get a mixture of local. You get a mixture of big box or chain. So I love Red Mill Commons. Next to that is also Strawbridge, which is right around the corner. That's got a nice movie theater, other shopping areas there, and then got other restaurants. Lucky Oyster is one that I think is worth checking out. But also coming off Princess Anne Road, close to the neighborhood, is Home Depot. You have more stuff happening on Princess Anne Road near General Booth. So you have a lot of shopping access close to Sherwood Lakes. And then going up, about 15 minutes, 17 minutes away, you're close to Hilltop, which is over towards the beach, but in the northern section of Virginia Beach too. So lots of shopping within 15, 20 minutes, and also 5 to 10 minutes away. So, okay, neighborhood's amazing, but there are some drawbacks. What are these drawbacks? Well, number one is the fact that the lot sizes are not very big. If you see the houses, you'll see that they're all pretty close together. Well, the lot sizes are close to around a quarter of an acre, maybe a little bit less than that, but they feel small, partly because the houses are often so big, and so you don't get a lot of space. That's number one. Number two is, as you come off of the main roads, you'll see that there are roads that connect from side to side that come in between the strips of houses. That sometimes makes the area, to me, feel more cramped as well, but that's also sometimes a benefit if you like the idea of having your garage accessible from the back of the house as opposed to the front. So some people actually do like that a lot more. It's just that it changes the dynamic of how it feels in the neighborhood. The next one is that in 2024, there's discussion about what will likely be a special assessment or payments that will be made to correct erosion that has happened in one of the lakes. It's one of the smaller of the two lakes. This is something that the whole neighborhood is going to be contributing to pay for. The question is, they don't know yet how much that's going to be. I'm told that it may not be much more than $2,000 to $5,000 per person in one lump payment. But they don't know if they're going to be doing a special assessment, meaning like one payment, or make it multiple payments over time. They also don't know how much it will be, because they're going to be getting some quotes and figuring that out. But that being said, that is a drawback. You'll be paying into the maintenance and the prevention of more erosion in that lake. And I think that's something that you can, as you go into a condo and HOA neighborhood, that sometimes can happen, where you get something called a special assessment, where something that is outside of the regular budget for the HOA has to be paid for. That's where it comes into the reserves of the HOA have to pay for it, but you as the homeowner have to then replenish those reserves, and that's what that special assessment would be going towards. Another drawback is really the price. Honestly, you're paying between $650 and $900 for those single family houses, and $450 to $500 for even the attached 2-3 bedroom condos. In school district is Kellam High School District, Princess Anne Middle School, and Three Oaks Elementary School, which is very close to the neighborhood, but these are in high demand. And so again, southeastern Virginia Beach has that high demand school district area. So if you want southeastern Virginia Beach, you'll be paying for it. Again, higher price, $650 to $900, or $450 to $500 in those townhouses, those condos. But you're going to be getting a lot of the things that people really seek after if they want to move to Virginia Beach, in the southeastern part of Virginia Beach specifically. So if you have any more questions about relocating to Sherwood Lakes, or explore the Virginia Beach area through Williamsburg, let me know. This is what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So if you have any questions, you can text me, call me, email me. I have my contact information in the description. You can reach out at any point, and I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.